The fog in the mountains never lifted that morning. It clung to the trees like a shroud, damp and heavy, muffling every sound except the crunch of boots on gravel. I, David Miller, led the way, pack slung across my shoulders, the map folded in my hand, though I already knew the path. Behind me, the students whispered. Linda Jones walked closest, careful and steady, her eyes scanning every slope as if the forest might lunge at her. Ryan Turner, restless as ever, shoved branches aside with too much force, muttering about wasted time. Amelia Moore trailed a few steps back, pale and silent. Her gaze fixed on the mist, as if she saw shapes in it no one else could. We had come to Appalachia for what the university called a minor excavation, nothing more than an old frontier church built by settlers in the 18th century. But I knew better. I had seen the sketches buried in Vatican archives, crude drawings of a throne of stone, of angels broken and chained. I never told the students what I suspected. If I had, they would not have followed me here. The trail ended at a clearing. In the center stood the remains of the church. Its walls collapsed, its steeple bent like a neck snapped in defiance. The door hung loose, black with rot. Ryan gave a low whistle. "This is it? Looks like the wind could knock it down. What do you think, David?" "Do not underestimate what is buried," I said. Inside, the air was colder. Dust coated the pews, the altar warped with age. A single bell, cracked and useless, lay on the floor. Amelia touched it with her fingers and flinched as if it burned. Linda glanced at me. "David, you feel it too, do you not? Something wrong here." I did. Every step deeper into the church tightened the knot in my chest. I had walked in ruins across 3 continents, but this was different. This place did not simply age. It watched. At the altar, I found what I had expected. The wood behind it was carved with a cross, but the lines were uneven, as though someone had hacked at it with fury. Beneath the cross, half concealed by rubble, was a stone panel marked with sigils older than this continent. Ryan crouched, running his hand over the marks. "Hidden door, figures, so when do we open it?" Linda's voice sharpened. "We do not even know what is down there," Ryan grinned. "That is why we find out." He shoved the stone until it shifted with a grinding sigh. Cold air poured up from the gap, smelling of earth and iron. The mist outside seemed to follow us in, curling down the stairs revealed beneath. I lit the lantern I carried. The flame flickered hard, guttering though no wind touched it. "We go," I said. The stairs wound deep. Stone pressed close on either side, dripping with moisture. Each step echoed too long, as though the darkness stretched sound itself. Linda held the light when my hands shook. Ryan pressed ahead with reckless energy. Amelia whispered prayers under her breath, her voice trembling. The passage ended in a cavern vast enough to swallow the church above. Stalactites hung like teeth, and in the center, carved from black stone, sat the throne. It rose from the ground as if grown, wings of rock curling upward, their edges jagged and broken. Chains of iron, rusted but unbroken, snaked around its arms and base. Symbols burned faintly on the floor around it, glowing like embers. Amelia gasped, covering her mouth. Linda muttered a curse. Ryan laughed. "This is it? A chair? We came all this way for a chair?" "Not a chair," I said. My throat was dry. "A prison." The cavern answered with silence. Then, from the far reaches of the dark, came a sound too soft to be echo, too sharp to be imagination. A whisper, stretched thin, calling not a name but a promise. Something in me recognized it, though I had never heard it before. The whisper drifted again, faint but sharp, and Amelia clutched her ears. "Do you hear it?" she asked, her voice brittle. Ryan smirked. "All I hear is my own footsteps echoing." He strode closer, boots crunching on the stone floor. "Stop," I said. The lantern in my hand guttered, its flame shrinking as though starved of air. "Do not go near it." Linda's voice was low, urgent. "Ryan, this is not a game." He turned with a grin that looked more like defiance. "You wanted discovery, Professor Miller? Here it is." I hated the way he said it, mocking, twisting my name into a dare. The cavern was colder near the throne. Mist clung to the base like breath from something alive. The iron chains rattled, though no one touched them. Symbols carved into the stone floor glowed faintly, pulsing in rhythm with the beat of a heart that was not ours. Amelia whimpered, "It knows we are here." I set the lantern down, stepped forward, and placed my hand against the air between us and the throne. The space itself vibrated. My skin tingled as if brushed by static. Linda backed away. "David, please. We should not stay." Ryan knelt at the base, running his fingers over the symbols. "Latin?" he said with a laugh. "Old, but still Latin. What does it say?" I crouched reluctantly, eyes scanning the lines. The words burned faintly in my mind. "Morning star shall never rise again if 9 bells keep their guard." My chest tightened. It is a warning. Ryan's grin widened, or an invitation. He reached for the arm of the throne. The moment his skin brushed the stone, the cavern groaned. Dust fell from the ceiling. The lantern flickered violently, shadows snapping across the walls. "Get away from it!" I shouted. He pulled his hand back, laughing nervously. "Relax, it's just rock." Amelia shook her head, eyes wide. No, it spoke. We all stared at her. Her lips trembled. It said my name. Linda grabbed her shoulders. "Amelia, you imagined it." But I saw the terror in her face, the way her pupils shrank to pinpricks. She was not lying. Ryan stood tall, brushing dust from his palms. "Even if it did, so what? We came here to find something." Well, we found it. This throne is the discovery of the century. "This throne is a prison," I said. My voice echoed too loudly, as though the cavern wanted to carry the words back to me. "And if it opens, none of us will leave alive." Ryan scoffed. "Or it is the key to something greater. Do not tell me you dragged us up here for folklore. You wanted proof, and now it is right in front of you." Linda stepped between us, anger flashing. He said, "Stop. For once, listen." Ryan's smile faded, replaced by a glare. "You are all scared because you cannot face what this means, but I'm not scared. I'm tired of shadows. I want the truth." He moved closer to the throne, his footsteps deliberate. The chains rattled again, louder this time, as if warning him back. The glow of the symbols grew brighter, licking across the floor like fire trapped in stone. I lunged forward, grabbing his arm. "Enough!" For a heartbeat, the cavern seemed to hold its breath. The whisper surged through the air, not faint but clear, sharp enough to cut. "Sit." Ryan's face paled, but then twisted into a grin. "Did you hear that? It wants me." He pulled free of my grip and climbed the steps carved into the base of the throne. Amelia screamed his name. Linda cursed, rushing after him, but the glow flared so bright we all staggered back. Ryan placed both hands on the arms of the throne. The 9th bell above the mountain tolled, deep and mournful, echoing through the stone like a command. The bell tolled again, deeper than thunder, and the sound shook dust from the cavern ceiling. Ryan gripped the arms of the throne, his grin stretched too wide, eyes flashing in the pale glow of the symbols. "Do you feel that?" he shouted over the echo. "It is power." Linda stumbled forward. "Ryan, get up! Get away from it!" He threw his head back, laughing. The chains wrapped around the base rattled in time with the bells. Amelia fell to her knees, covering her ears, whispering prayers that dissolved into sobs. The 3rd toll came, rolling through my bones. My teeth ached. The lantern flame shrank to a single blue spark. I could not move. The air pressed against me like a weight, pinning me in place. Ryan's laughter broke into a gasp. His fingers dug into the stone. Blood trickled down his palms, dripping onto the glowing floor. The fourth toll cracked through the cavern, his back arched, every muscle straining. Veins stood out along his neck, pulsing black instead of red. "Stop!" Linda screamed. She tried to climb the steps, but a surge of heat flared across the symbols, forcing her back. The fifth toll echoed. The glow brightened, searing against my eyes. Letters carved into the throne blazed red, and Ryan's skin split open as if mirroring them. Latin phrases crawled across his arms, his chest, his face. He screamed now, high and raw. "It is inside me." The sixth toll fell. Shadows twisted across the walls, shapes with wings, mouths gaping but silent. Amelia sobbed louder, rocking back and forth. "It is here, it is here," she whispered. The seventh toll rattled the chains until sparks flew. Ryan's body convulsed, slamming against the stone. His eyes rolled back, whites glowing faintly. The eighth toll boomed, louder than all before. The cavern shook as cracks split the floor. A wind without source tore at us, carrying with it a voice too low to understand, yet too close to ignore. Ryan choked, blood gurgling from his throat. He tried to rise from the throne, but his hands were fused to the arms, skin melted to stone. "David!" Linda cried. "Do something!" I staggered forward, every step like wading through iron. My mind screamed to drag him free, but the moment I neared the throne, the whisper surged sharp in my skull. "Sit!" I recoiled, clutching my head. My vision swam red. The ninth toll crashed through the cavern. Ryan's scream tore itself apart. His body snapped backward, chest splitting with a sound like tearing cloth. From the wound poured light, scarlet, burning, alive. The letters etched across his flesh flared once, then carved themselves deeper until his skin ripped wide. And then silence. Ryan's body slumped. For a breath I thought he lived, but when his head tilted forward, I saw that his eyes were hollow pits, glowing faintly with embers. His lips moved, but no human voice came out, only a hiss of ash. He collapsed to the floor. The glow around the throne dimmed, the chains stilled, the cavern exhaled. Linda fell to her knees beside the body, sobbing. Amelia did not move. She stared at the throne, her mouth open, her face pale as chalk. I could not look away. The throne pulsed once more, faint and satisfied. Like a beast fed. The silence after Ryan's death was worse than the bells. His body lay twisted at the foot of the throne, flesh seared with words none of us could read. The smell of burned iron filled the cavern, stinging my lungs with every breath. Linda clutched my arm, shaking. "We have to leave. David, we have to leave now." But Amelia did not move. She crouched on the cold stone, her eyes locked on the throne, lips trembling. "Do you hear it?" she whispered. Linda turned sharply. "Hear what?" Amelia's pupils were wide, her face drained of blood. "It is saying a name." I stepped closer, though fear clawed at my stomach. "What name?" Her voice cracked, a whisper stretched too thin. "Lucifer!" The cavern groaned at the sound, stone grinding against stone. The chains wrapped around the throne rattled violently, sparks of red light spitting from their links. Linda recoiled as if struck. "No, do not say it again." Amelia's gaze never left the throne. Tears streaked her cheeks. "It said it first. It keeps saying it over and over, like it wants me to answer." I grabbed her shoulders. "Amelia, listen to me. Do not respond. No matter what you hear, you do not answer." She blinked at me, dazed, as if caught in a storm only she could feel. The whisper slithered through the cavern, faint yet unmistakable. Not words this time, but a single name, drawn out until it scraped bone. Lucifer. The lantern flame died. For a moment, the only light came from the glowing marks carved into Ryan's corpse. His skin pulsed faintly, as though the words themselves were alive. Father Ethan stumbled down the steps into the cavern, his old face pale, sweat beading on his brow. He clutched his crucifix tight against his chest. "God preserve us," he muttered. His voice shook. "You should never have come here." Linda rounded on him. You knew what this was." He did not answer. His eyes were fixed on the throne. "Father," I demanded, my voice echoing too loudly in the vast space, "what is this? What is bound here?" He looked at me then, his expression heavy with dread. "The morning star, the first to fall. You know the name. All men of faith know the name." My chest clenched. The air felt thinner, colder. Amelia shivered violently, hugging herself. "It is still calling me. It wants me to sit where Ryan sat." "No one sits again," I snapped. The crucifix in Father Ethan's hand trembled. He pressed it toward the throne, whispering prayers under his breath. For a moment the glow dimmed, the chains stilling. But the whisper surged again, louder, almost mocking. "Lucifer!" The sound made my vision blur. I saw flashes of wings burning, of light torn apart, of a face too beautiful and terrible to look at. My knees buckled under the weight of it. Linda pulled me back. "David!" I gasped, dragging air into my lungs. My hands shook uncontrollably. Father Ethan's voice cracked as he forced the words out. "This is not legend. This is his prison. He has waited centuries for someone to listen." The throne pulsed once, sending a ripple through the cavern floor. Dust rained from the ceiling. Ryan's body jerked suddenly, a last spasm, before collapsing into ash that scattered across the stone. Amelia screamed, clutching her head. "It will not stop. He's saying my name now, over and over." I grabbed her wrists, forcing her to meet my eyes. "Fight it, Amelia. You do not answer him. Do you understand me? You do not answer." Her lips moved soundlessly. Her tears fell hot against my hands. The cavern exhaled again, heavy and alive, and in that breath came the promise none of us dared believe true. The morning star shall rise again. Father Ethan's prayers dwindled into silence. His hand shook as he lowered the crucifix, sweat dripping down his wrinkled face. The cavern pulsed with a low thrum, as though the throne itself had a heartbeat. Linda's voice cracked. "What is happening? Tell us the truth." The priest's shoulders sagged. He looked older than I had ever seen him, as if the weight of centuries pressed down upon his back. "The truth," he whispered, "is that this place should never have been touched. The throne should never have been unearthed." I stepped forward, anger sharpening my words. "You knew. From the beginning, you knew what was buried here." His eyes flicked to mine, heavy with guilt. "Not all of it. I was told only fragments, enough to know it was dangerous, enough to know it was real." Amelia rocked on her knees, whispering to herself, fighting a voice only she could hear. Linda stayed close, one arm around her, but her own face was pale with fear. I stared at Father Ethan. "What is it?" "What is this throne?" He hesitated, then spoke with the gravity of confession. "It is not just a seat, it is a mark. When the morning star was cast out, when he fell from heaven's light, fragments of his essence struck the world like meteors. This throne is one of them, carved from the stone where he landed. His chains are bound into it, and the sigils are the locks. This is not a relic, it is a prison." The cavern groaned faintly, as though resenting the words. Linda tightened her grip on Amelia. "Then why here? Why in these mountains?" Father Ethan's gaze dropped. "Because Rome could not destroy it. They tried. Fire, holy water, relics from saints. None of it touched the throne, so they chose exile. Centuries ago, a sect of priests carried it across the ocean, far from the heart of Christendom. They built a church above it, raised bells to guard it. They hoped time and distance would bury the memory." His words hollowed me out. I had seen those archives, those fragments half erased in dusty manuscripts. Notes that spoke of a seed of ruin and 9 bells that must not fail. I had thought them legend. Now the truth breathed cold before me. "You left it here," I said, my voice shaking with fury. "You buried it in these hills and pretended it was gone. And now a boy is dead because of your silence." Father Ethan flinched. "Do you think I wanted this? I begged to stay away, but when the church collapsed, when the townsfolk began whispering of shadows, they sent me. The Vatican always sends someone." "Always too late," Linda's voice cut sharp. "So you let us walk into a trap?" The priest met her eyes. "Would you have believed me if I told you? Would you have turned back?" I wanted to say yes, but I thought of the hunger that drove me here, the need for proof, for discovery. Even without his words, I might have come. That truth gnawed at me like a blade. Amelia whimpered suddenly, clutching her head. "He is angry," she whispered. "He says you are liars. He says he was betrayed." Father Ethan gripped his crucifix tighter. "Do not listen. They are lies." But doubt had already planted its roots. I remembered Andrew's face, the colleague who had died because of my decision years ago. I remembered his eyes as he fell beneath the collapsing stone, the silence that followed. And now, in the whisper that slid along the cavern walls, I swore I heard his voice calling me. "David," it breathed. "I'm still waiting." I shut my eyes, shaking. Father Ethan's words rang hollow in my ears. Rome had buried this truth, hidden it like a shameful scar. And if they had lied about this, what else had they buried? The throne pulsed once more, satisfied with my doubt. The echo of the throne's pulse had barely faded when a slow clap cut through the cavern. We turned. A figure stepped from the shadows beyond the lantern's reach, his polished boots ringing against the stone. His face was sharp, pale in the dim light, his black coat too fine for a mountain trek. His eyes gleamed with something colder than curiosity. "Magnificent," he said, "even more than I imagined." Linda rose, bristling. "Who the hell are you?" The man smiled faintly. "Caleb Phillips, the one who paid for your journey here. You did not think the university had the funds for this, did you?" The name struck me like a bell. I'd seen it on the forms, barely registered it beyond the line of signatures. But now he stood here, as though he had been waiting all along. Father Ethan's face twisted in recognition. You should not be here." Caleb's smile sharpened. "On the contrary, Father. I have been waiting for this moment longer than you can imagine, and now it stands before us, unchained and breathing." Linda moved in front of Amelia, shielding her. "Ryan is dead because of that thing. Stay away." Caleb's eyes flicked briefly to the ash where Ryan had fallen, then back to the throne. "Death is the toll of ignorance. He was unworthy. But one day soon, someone worthy will sit long enough to open the chains, and then we will see the morning star shine again." The name burned in the air like fire. Amelia whimpered, curling tighter into herself. I stepped forward, fists clenched. "You believe this is salvation? You saw what it did to him. You want more of that?" Caleb's gaze locked with mine, calm, unwavering. I saw a fool who did not understand the gift he was given. But you, David Miller, yes, I know who you are. You understand loss. You carry guilt like a mantle. You long for truth the church denies you. Tell me you did not hear your friend's voice in the dark. Tell me you do not ache to see him again. My breath caught. Andrew. His name, unspoken, but alive between us. Linda looked at me sharply. "David, do not listen to him." Caleb's voice was silk and iron. The Vatican buried this throne because they feared it, not because it was evil, but because it was power they could not control. They chained the light that dared to rival theirs. Lucifer was not darkness. He was the brightest of them all, cast down for pride, yes, but pride is only strength without apology. Is that truly evil, or is it the truest freedom? Father Ethan's voice thundered. Blasphemy! He is the father of lies. He devours every soul that listens. Caleb's smile widened. Or he frees them. Ask Amelia, she already hears him. Ask her if his voice sounds like hate. Amelia shivered violently, tears streaking her cheeks. He does not sound like hate. He sounds beautiful. Linda shook her shoulders. Stop it! That is not him. That is what he wants you to believe. The cavern pulsed again, the glow along the floor brightening as though responding to Caleb's words. The throne's chains rattled faintly, a hungry tremor. Caleb turned to me once more. You have studied the archives, Professor. You know the church hides what it fears. But what if you could prove them wrong? What if you could sit where Ryan failed and endure? Imagine the voices silenced, the truth revealed, the guilt erased. I stared at him, throat tight. Images of Andrew flooded me, his hand reaching for mine as the earth collapsed, my decision to retreat, the silence after. Caleb stepped closer, his voice dropping. Lucifer does not need worship. He needs a vessel. And you, David Miller, could be that vessel. Do not waste the chance Ryan squandered. Take the throne, break the bells, free what was never meant to be chained. The whisper surged again, not faint but clear, curling through the cavern like smoke. David. The cavern felt smaller with Caleb's words still hanging in the air. The glow across the floor throbbed in rhythm with my heart, each pulse like a demand. Linda pulled Amelia back, but the younger woman twisted against her grip, eyes wide, lips parted as if listening to something no one else could hear. Let go of me, Amelia hissed. You do not understand. He is not what you think. Linda's face was tight with fear and fury. You are being used. That is not a voice of hope, Amelia. That is a trap. Amelia shook her head violently, her hair clinging to her tear-streaked cheeks. He said my name. He said he sees me. No one else ever did. Father Ethan lifted his crucifix again, his voice harsh. It is not him you hear. It is the shadow of the one who fell, the brightest angel turned to ash. He lies with every breath. Caleb chuckled softly. If they are lies, why do they comfort her more than your prayers, Father? Tell me, when was the last time your church gave her solace? When was the last time they gave anyone truth? Linda snapped. Do not twist this. But Caleb ignored her. His eyes found mine. And you, David, you hear him too. You saw your friend, did you not? Andrew, the one you lost. He is waiting for you. I clenched my jaw, but the name still struck deep. The memory rose unbidden, stone collapsing, dust choking the air, Andrew's hand reaching through the dark, my own voice shouting his name as I turned away, leaving him behind. And then he was here. Not in flesh, but in vision. Just beyond the throne, in the shimmer of its glow. Andrew stood. His face was as I remembered, streaked with blood and dust, but his eyes alive, pleading. David, he whispered, you left me, but you do not have to leave me again. My knees weakened. I gripped the lantern to steady myself, but the flame sputtered low, as if the cavern itself stole its breath. Linda's hand caught my arm. Do not look at it. It is not him. But her voice was distant. Andrew's was closer. You can fix it, he said. One choice. And I come back. One choice. And the guilt ends. Caleb's voice wove into the vision like a serpent's hiss. Do you hear him, David? He's not gone. The church told you he was. They told you death is final. But here with the throne, there is no final. There is only light waiting to be released. Father Ethan staggered forward, face gray, sweat dripping. Stop this madness. Every soul fed to that throne only tightens its chains. It does not give them back. It devours them. Amelia screamed suddenly, breaking free of Linda's grasp. She ran to Caleb, clutching his arm. "He does not devour. He redeems. I can feel it. I can feel him in me." Caleb placed a hand on her shoulder, smiling like a priest at communion. "You see, she understands, and so will he." His gaze flicked back to me. Linda pulled at me desperately. "David, listen to me. Look at Ryan's body, what it did to him. That is your proof. Do not let it take you too." But the ash where Ryan had fallen only smoldered faintly now, as though erased by the glow of the throne. My eyes kept finding Andrew in the light, his face calm, his voice soft. "You promised me, David," the vision whispered. "You promised we would see it through together. I died because you turned away. Do not turn away again." My throat closed. I wanted to shout, to deny it, but the words would not come. Father Ethan fell to his knees, clutching his chest. "The bells! They are weakening. The ninth cannot hold much longer." The throne pulsed brighter, red veins crawling up its arms. The chains rattled in slow rhythm, like breath before a cry. Linda shook me hard. "David, choose now. Do you stand with him or with us?" I looked at her, at the priest crumpled on the floor, at Amelia clinging to Caleb like a child to her father, and beyond them all, I looked at Andrew, waiting in the glow, hand outstretched. The glow from the floor spread wider as Caleb raised both arms, his voice rolling across the cavern like thunder made of words. Latin syllables poured from his lips, not chanted, but carved, each one gouging itself into the air. The throne answered. Chains rattled like drums. The wings of stone flared with cracks of light, red and furious. Amelia stumbled toward him as if pulled by invisible strings. Her eyes were wide, her mouth moving in time with his words, though no sound escaped. Her body jerked like a puppet on threads of fire. Linda rushed forward, but a surge of heat flared from the floor, forcing her back. The stone between us and the throne glowed like coals. "Stop this!" I shouted, but my voice was drowned in the roar of unseen wind. Caleb turned his face to me, still chanting. His smile was fever bright. "It is too late to stop. The bells are breaking. The morning star will rise again." The cavern shuddered. From the ceiling, dust rained down in sheets. The lantern blew out, but light still poured from the throne, red and gold, a mockery of dawn. Amelia's scream pierced the roar. Her body arched as flames traced her veins, burning without consuming. Her voice split into two tones, hers and another, deeper, echoing, ancient. Linda cried out, tears streaking her face. "Amelia, fight it. Do not let him take you." But Amelia's eyes glowed white, and her lips shaped the name with perfect clarity. Lucifer. The sound cut through me like glass. My vision blurred red, and then I saw him. Andrew. Not a phantom in the shimmer, not a trick of shadows, but standing in the full blaze of the throne's light. His face was exactly as I remembered in those last moments, dust-smeared, eyes pleading, but now calm, radiant. He extended his hand. "David, it is real. He can give me back. He can give us all back." I staggered forward before I realized I'd moved. Linda grabbed at my arm, screaming my name, but her voice was a distant echo. Andrew's was close inside my chest. "You can fix it," he whispered. "No more guilt, no more weight. One step and it ends." Father Ethan struggled to his feet, clutching the crucifix with white knuckles. His voice cracked. "Do not believe it. That is not Andrew. That is the serpent wearing his skin." But the vision smiled sadly, as Andrew always had when I disappointed him. "Of course he would say that. They lied to you then. They lie now. I am here, David. I am waiting." The throne pulsed, brighter with each beat, as though my hesitation fed it. Amelia collapsed at Caleb's feet, trembling, her voice still echoing with that other tone. Caleb bent, placing his hand on her head like a blessing. "Do you see?" he shouted. "The vessel is ready. The light is breaking. Come, David Miller, join us. Take the throne and end your shame." I could not breathe. My body leaned forward, drawn by the weight of Andrew's hand outstretched, by the warmth of his voice promising release. Linda's scream split the air. "David, if you touch it, we all die." But Andrew's whisper drowned her out. "Only one choice, David. Save me." Caleb's chanting rose to a fever pitch. The cavern shook with every word, the chains of the throne snapping against the stone as if eager to break. Amelia knelt at his side, trembling, her lips still moving in silent echoes. Then he turned, his eyes burning with triumph, and strode to the throne. "This is mine," he said. "It was always meant for me." "Caleb, no!" Father Ethan's voice cracked. "It will consume you." But Caleb was already climbing the steps. He pressed his hands against the arms of the throne and lowered himself into its seat. The glow leapt to meet him, crawling up his arms like fire. For a heartbeat he laughed, exultant. "Do you see? It accepts me." The first toll rang out, heavy as stone. Caleb's laughter faltered, his veins blackened, his skin splitting as letters carved themselves deep into his flesh. The second toll boomed. His eyes rolled back, mouth gaping as a scream ripped from his throat. The third toll thundered, and blood gushed from his ears. His body shook violently, bones cracking under the weight of something unseen. "Get out!" Linda shouted. "Get away from it!" But Caleb could not rise. His hands fused to the stone, his chest heaving as flames burst from his mouth. The fourth toll shook the cavern. Caleb's body convulsed, limbs twisting at impossible angles. His scream turned to a howl, not of man, but of something dragged into fire. The fifth toll came, and his skin split entirely, peeling away in sheets of ash. Beneath it was not flesh but light, scarlet and furious, veins of molten fire tearing him apart. The sixth toll rolled like thunder. Caleb's body tore itself in two. His scream cut off. For an instant his face remained frozen in agony. Then it melted, dripping into the throne itself. The seventh toll echoed. His remains collapsed into black ash, seared into the floor. The throne pulsed once, rejecting him. The chains rattled, then stilled. Silence. And then came the whisper, not faint, not distant, but clear as breath against my ear. "David Miller." The cavern darkened, the glow retreating from every corner until only the throne blazed. My name thundered again, louder, shaking my chest. "David Miller." Linda grabbed my arm. "Do not listen. You saw what it did to him." But the sound filled me, drowned me. My knees bent as though the voice itself pressed down. The eighth toll rang. Though no bell should have remained, the sound came from everywhere, reverberating through bone and blood. Andrew appeared in the blaze, closer than ever. His face was radiant, his hand outstretched. "David, it is your turn. Do not let me die again." I staggered forward. Father Ethan's hand shot out, clutching at me, his eyes wild. "If you sit, it will not be him you save. It will be yourself you lose." But his grip slipped. My body moved without thought. The ninth toll crashed, louder than all before, shattering the air. I mounted the steps, the heat searing my skin. Linda screamed my name, her voice lost in the roar. I lowered myself onto the throne. The stone was ice and fire all at once. My hands fused to its arms. The chains rattled violently, sparks bursting like stars. The floor glowed brighter, runes flaring alive. The cavern filled with a single voice, deeper than thunder, sharper than glass. "I have waited, David Miller." My breath tore out of me. My heart stuttered against the weight of it. Andrew knelt before me, smiling gently. "You did it. You saved me. Stay with me now. Do not leave again." The voice of Lucifer wrapped around his like smoke. 9 bells break. The morning star rises. The cavern shook as if the mountain itself would split. Light poured from the throne, scarlet and gold flaring like the birth of a star. Chains rattled, splitting at their anchors. The cavern floor cracked open, runes burning brighter than fire. Lucifer's voice filled everything. At last, the chains are broken. Rise with me, David Miller. My chest crushed beneath the sound, my body strained, torn between heat and ice, light and dark. Andrew's image knelt before me, smiling with serenity. You did it. I am back. Just let go. Come with me. Linda screamed from below. It is not him. Fight it, David. Father Ethan staggered forward, face pale, blood staining his robes. He lifted his crucifix, his voice barely more than a rasp. Lord, give me strength. Bind the serpent once more. His words sparked against the light. For a moment the blaze recoiled, shadows lashing like wounded beasts. Lucifer's roar shook the cavern. Old fool, you have no strength left. The crucifix cracked in Ethan's hands, but he did not stop. He forced his voice louder, his final reserves burning through him. Michael cast you down once. You shall not rise again. Lucifer's scream tore through stone. The chains snapped taut, glowing white. The throne quaked under me, demanding I release it. My bones felt like they would split. Linda clutched the edge of the glowing circle, tears running down her face. David, listen to me. You are stronger than him. Do not give in. Andrew's face leaned closer, too perfect, too calm. She does not know. Only I know. Only I waited for you. End this, David. End your pain. I shut my eyes. His voice melted into Lucifer's, one echoing the other until I could not tell them apart. Father Ethan fell to his knees, his voice cracked with blood. Take my life. Bind him through me. Lucifer's roar silenced him. The old priest collapsed, his crucifix shattering on the stone. The throne's blaze surged higher, the mountain itself trembling. I knew then what had to be done. I forced my voice out, ragged and raw. If you need a vessel, then take me. If you need a guard, then chain me. The light coiled around me, burning into my skin. Symbols seared themselves into my arms, across my chest, into my very bones. Pain lanced through every nerve until I could not breathe. The voice of Lucifer thundered, triumphant. Yes, custodian, mine. But the chains seized, tightening. The runes flared, blinding white. His scream ripped through the cavern, fury and agony entwined. No, not prison again, not through him. The light slammed back into the throne. The cracks in the stone sealed, the fire swallowed. The cavern fell still. Silence. I opened my eyes. The glow remained etched into my flesh, black symbols burning faintly across my arms. My breath came shallow, each one a weight. Linda crawled to me, sobbing. David, you are alive. I shook my head slowly. Alive is not the word. She tried to pull me from the throne, but I could not rise. My hands were bound to the stone, not by chains, but by the will of what lay inside. If I leave, I whispered, it leaves with me. Someone must remain. Her tears streaked her dirt-smeared face. No, there has to be another way. I managed the faintest smile. Then pray one day someone better takes my place. Behind her, Father Ethan's body lay still, his sacrifice complete. The cavern no longer pulsed, but its silence was heavy, alive. Linda rose slowly. Her hand lingered on my shoulder, then fell away. She backed toward the stairs, her face breaking with grief. At the cavern's edge, she turned once more. I will remember you, she whispered. Then she was gone. I sat in the dark, the throne cold and burning beneath me. The chains rattled faintly, like a heartbeat. My heartbeat. Outside, the morning bells rang faint across the mountain. Each toll echoed through the stone, and the whisper followed in their wake. Custodian.